Just ahead on the 30-minute news, a dramatic hostage situation in Schenectady. It's a complex story that certainly did not start Sunday. The Guardian Angels came to Albany to visit Governor Cuomo, and a grand finale became a grand reopening at an area roller rink. Norm with the storm, and Rodger with when the Saints went marching out. It's all next on the 30-minute news.
This is WNYT, Albany. Moskowitz, meteorologist Norm Sebastian, and Rodger Wyland on sports. This is the 30-minute news.
Good morning. Remember the name Joseph Hutton? Nearly 2 years ago, he and his wife made the news when one of their children died after drinking a can of dry gas. They're in the headlines again. Sunday, Hutton held his wife and one of their children hostage for about 4 hours before surrendering to Schenectady police. Terry Hutton and child being let go. Their ordeal for today at least was over. But for 4 hours they were hostages. Joe Hutton was wanted for alleged parole violation, an apparent weekend of car thefts. Police feared he had a gun. They knew he had a machete, and he said he had a can of liquid wrench which he would either ignite or swallow. Eventually his probation officer convinced him he was in enough trouble already, so Hutton let his wife and child go before surrendering peacefully himself. Do you feel that there was any real danger during this whole thing to the child, to the wife, to himself?
To himself, perhaps. To anyone else, no.
Was he calm for the most part?
No, he was agitated. But I suppose he was calmer than other people would be in this situation.
The incident occurred at 1818 Broadway. The building is owned by Nick DeLeva. He had already given them an eviction notice. He said he was tired of too many police hanging around.
And I guess he was still in jail when they rented. He wasn't supposed to be here, but he kept coming off and on. I think she was deathly afraid of him.
In February 1986, her son, his stepson, Roddy Renkowitz, was found dead. He had swallowed a can of dry gas. The Huttons' 2 other children at the time were taken away by social services. The kids were returned to them, but 2 months later, there were 2 overnight fires at the Huttons' Craig Street apartment. Those blazes were termed suspicious. The children were taken away again. This was a Hutton's reaction at the time.
I'm going to file a petition to take the county into court for harassment because I'm tired of it. I can't go through no more.
When we argue, we both get hot-headed. I'm not the type that'll walk away from the house and say to hell with it. I'll try to calm things down. We were both mad.
Have you physically abused your wife?
No. Have I physically ever abused you?
No.
Have I ever hit you, beaten you, or anything else?
No.
The child held hostage but released safely today was apparently born after social services deemed the Huttons unfit as parents and took their 2 surviving children away. Following today's incident, Hutton was taken to Ellis Hospital just in case he did drink some liquid wrench. Physically, he is fine, but he is now undergoing psychiatric examinations. And Schenectady police encountered a somewhat similar situation late Saturday. They say a man barricaded himself inside this home on Donald Avenue with a .22 caliber rifle. He threatened to harm himself or anyone who might approach him. Authorities went into the home and apprehended the man. No shots were fired and there were no injuries. The name of the man has not been released. Police surrounded a home in Glens Falls Sunday morning and arrested 31-year-old Barry Bolden for allegedly robbing and stabbing 2 women. Police think it was Bolden who entered an Amsterdam apartment Saturday morning, burglarized it, and stabbed the 2 women who lived there. Neither woman was seriously injured. Bolden is in the Montgomery County Jail on burglary charges. Police say more charges against Bolden are pending. A fire department in Saratoga County is in the midst of a struggle with a local planning board. As Steve Scoville reports, firefighters in Half Moon say town officials refuse to consult them on fire issues, and they say that could put their lives in danger.
When West Crescent firemen respond to a call, they don't always know some very basic things they should know before they arrive on the scene. At businesses, for example, will there be an access road? What kind of water system is available? Are there pipes to hook into the sprinkler system? The firemen say the town planning board just doesn't ask for their help when developments are being considered.
They go up there and they sit at their table and they do all this planning and okay this stuff, but we're the people that's got to go out and put these fires out, not them. I'm not saying they're incompetent about what they're doing, but they don't understand solely the firefighting aspect of it.
One of the fire department's main concerns is that even though there are marked fire lanes in Half Moon shopping centers, the public can still park in them with no fear of penalty. The fire lanes are old and faded and are simply marked no parking.
Our fire marshal has no authority to go out and issue tickets for fire lanes, handicap spots, or nothing. And there's been times in some of these plazas that we could not get a truck of the size that we're running into them. If we had a fire, we'd have to fight it from the street because we couldn't get trucks in there.
In nearby Malta and Round Lake, there is enforcement of fire lane regulations, and local planning boards are cooperative.
The town has come to us specifically for our input on some projects that we felt wasn't necessary because of either was small or was an oversight on our part. They had sent us letters requesting our input before their approval.
Firemen in Half Moon are asking for the same cooperation from their town.
I would like to see them involve the fire department more. I hope they do that in the future because it'll save a lot of problems.
Steve Scoville, the 30-Minute News, Half Moon.
The Guardian Angels held another demonstration in front of the governor's mansion Sunday. This one wasn't to criticize the governor, but rather to praise him. Curtis Sliwa showed up at the front gate of his mansion to give authorities a letter to pass on to Cuomo. Sliwa says the Guardian Angels support the governor's endorsement of the idea of a special commission on nonviolence to help ease racial tensions.
When these incidents do flare up, instead of just putting police in an area and then letting activists on all sides of the front bombard each other with racial rhetoric, which really just opens up the wounds even more without finding a solution, have the crisis intervention group that the governor proposes go in there and do the healing. Because right now we hear a lot of the rhetoric, we hear a lot of the barbs and taunts, we see the physical violence, but we don't see the healing process, and we believe his idea is the only thing that's going to work.
The governor later came out of the mansion to talk with Sliwa about the racial problems. A spokesperson for the governor says it was a cordial conversation. The first Democrat ever to hold office in the Albany County town of Bethlehem was sworn in Sunday. Robert Burns is the new Bethlehem town councilman. Burns won by a single vote on Election Day. When the Republicans asked the court to open uncounted absentee ballots, Burns was declared the winner by 5 votes. The Israelis take action against 2 of their own soldiers after the death of a Palestinian woman. That story and more coming up next.